Welcome to turning a moment into a movement.
Just let the light of mine. I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Just let the light of mine. Just let the light of mine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night, the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit, all I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child these mornings. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Yeah, you know what it is. And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine, a little light of mine. Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, we. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV, ooh-wee, cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the missing when you see me fresh. Salute. Salute. You do good, bro?
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for Turning a Moment into a Movement. I am J Love, and I am your host. I'm hearing some background noise, so don't mind me right now. I'm trying to figure that out as well. But yes, thank you for joining us. I know what it is now. So I'm created this platform to talk about wrongful convictions and injustice. And also I created the Justice for Gerard movement. Gerard was my son who was wrongly convicted of a crime that he didn't do. And because of that journey with him and meeting so many others on that journey, we created this platform. So our mission here, the Turning a Moment into a Movement, was inspired by the wrongful conviction of Gerard and built from the urgent need to create safe, empowering spaces for all who have been harmed by injustice. Our mission is to shine a light on wrongful convictions, over sentencing and neglect of those who are mentally ill or medically frail within the criminal legal system. We are committed to uplifting voices, sharing truths, and advocating for those too often silenced. Through education, community organizing, and courageous storytelling, we work to disrupt the systems, policies, and patterns of the that fuel injustice, transforming awareness into collective action and turning every moment into movements for real change. So thank you for joining me this evening. And also we have Leslie.
Hello,
Greetings, Leslie. It seems
hello.
like I haven't seen you in a while.
I, I think it's the truth. You haven't. Like, I don't know. This is my first time back since our hiatus. I'm so happy to be in the studio with you. And I got to tell the story. When she first said Attorney Teasley would be on here, I was like, oh, yeah. When I read her information, I want to definitely be there. But it was supposed to have been last Friday, and I already was doing something. I was like, dang, I'm gonna miss it. And so when things Lord intervened and we end up here, so I'm glad. Because that's
Right.
one of
You
the
got
things that
your
I
wish.
yeah. I'm here as a representative of myself, of course, but also the Albert Williams Voting Corner, as we try to connect the dots between like history and voting rights. And one of the first things that were voter suppression in the Tennessee area, in West Tennessee, which I see that Attorney Teasley is from.
Yes.
It was going to jail when they stopped lynching. That was the next thing, you would go to jail. So I'm excited about this conversation.
I am too. So today I was at the Day of Empathy in Detroit, and I got my uniform on. Yes. And Trisha was there, and we represented. There were women from Huron Valley that were there. They spoke about. They had a panel discussion about Huron Valley and the things that go on with women incarcerated, as well as women not getting the same amount of attention as men, for wrongful convictions. They were basically saying that is everything is based off, for men and not really for women. And
Mhm.
so it was a very good conversation. And then on yesterday evening, and I want to play this now, and we'll probably play it again, later, but I want to play it now because I want, Attorney Teasley to see it. This was, on Thursday. We had a conversation with, Attorney, Robin McCoy,
Mhm.
and she went to see Krystal, and everybody has, she sent her assistant in first, and he was telling her to go see Krystal. She has been in conversations with us for a minute, and she finally went to see her. And so this is her reaction from seeing Krystal just Thursday evening.
Good evening, everyone. This is Attorney Robin McCoy with Robin Legal. Earlier today I met with Krystal Clark in the Huron Valley Correctional Facility. I had been reading about her situation. I talked with Trisha Duckworth about it, and so I finally was able to get some time to go over to see her. And I can't even express. Her health condition is really bad. Her ears are black. Her lip is drooping. She has problems with her stomach, and she has a heart condition. And she said that the doctors have said that the only way for her to improve is for her to be released from the Huron Valley Correctional Facility. She has a clemency request pending with our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, and I'm urging anybody that is watching this video to reach out to the governor's office to ask for the immediate release of Krystal Clark. So hashtag release Krystal now, and put more information in in the chat so that folks can reach out to the governor's office. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I love Robin. So full disclosure, she's She and we've been in movement together for a long time. And her daddy was an
Mm-hmm.
activist lawyer before her. And so she does such good work. And that was the first person I called with my son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we
This
were,
was hard.
uh, yeah, it's terrible. This is the most recent video of Krystal's ears.
I don't know how she hearing out of them.
I don't know either, but that's the most recent video. It's spreading. It's like coming from the outside, and that's what State Rep Lori Pahusky was describing when she went to see Krystal 2 weeks ago now. That the mold is like growing around the perimeters. It's coming out and growing around the perimeters of her ears, and she's has something going on. I just talked to her this morning, but as you know, Leslie, she's been complaining of the headaches, and now it's progressing. The headaches are even worse. She's having, bleeding, and they're treating her from what they're saying is a urinary tract infection. But how do you test somebody for that? And, I mean, how do you treat that if you haven't tested them? So they gave her the antibiotics, and I think yesterday they decided to give her a test for a urinary tract infection. So they know she's got something going on, but they just like, okay, they're just picking and choosing what they want to say it is. But I just want to, just keep Krystal in your prayers. And don't forget, this is our call to action. Reach out to Governor Whitmore, send her an email, or you could write a letter. We also have her phone number in here somewhere, but contact them. Ask them, hey, what are you doing about Krystal? Can we get a compassionate release? Something, because this is getting worse. Or they sit back and make excuses, the worse Krystal is getting. They're really pretty much giving her a death sentence. And so Michigan doesn't have the death penalty. So I don't know.
So they say. Mm-hmm.
So they say. But yes, so I just wanted to get in right quick, and we'll get back to it on the other end. But
Well, it's all related because I remember one of the first conversations I had with her mother was around how the utter shenanigans with her lack of counsel when she was going through. She shouldn't be going through this, period, full stop. But also remembering that she is wrongfully incarcerated, and a lot of that had to do with misconduct and just not not adequate representation.
yes, and I want to put this out here: the judge who sentenced her, who has passed on now, but he has had a lot of his cases overturned for wrongful conviction. So
Oh
yes.
no.
So we just want to, this is real out here. But I just wanted to get that because Attorney Courtney is not aware of what's going on here. And I wanted, her to know, and other people in that area to know about Krystal, and, just to uplift her story. So with that being said, I want to bring her on. Attorney Courtney Teasley. I hope I'm saying her last name right. Isn't just a powerhouse, because I done watched the video. She's a badass. She's a movement with over a decade of groundbreaking work in law and education and community advocacy. She has built a legacy that challenges the status quo and empowers the marginalized. As a business coach, a podcast host, lawyer, professor, uh, and she's going to tell us more about her business, a nonprofit that she has founded. Her mission is clear: to disrupt oppressive systems and uplift those who are often silenced. Ooh, she like us. So
Yeah. Tap in.
so without that, with saying all of this, let's bring her in. Welcome to turning the moment into a movement. Attorney Courtney Teasley. Yes.
Yes. Thank you
Oh,
so much. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes. Oh, that's Krystal. Call her right now.
Good. Listen, I was so like, my soul was vexed. You know, you were telling me about it earlier on, and I know people couldn't see me because I was backstage, but girl, my face was just permanently like, oh my God, what the fudge? Like, what is happening right now? Like, that is not normal. This child got black mold growing out of her ear. You telling
Yes.
me that, oh yeah, and they're trying to treat her for a UTI?
Yes.
My God. Like, I cannot. So, anywho, I'm so happy that you brought me up to speed on what's going on there. And then, even when I saw Justice for Gerard and learned that that's your son, I heard all the same things. I saw y'all talking about disrupting systems, and I said, oh, these are my people.
Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So that's what we do here. We disruptors.
Love it. I love it. Well, I'm a legal disruptor. So listen, hey, disruptors.
Yay.
So good to meet you.
Yes.
To be here, and I'm so happy that y'all doing the work up there in Detroit. I travel all around, and y'all have never been to Detroit.
Oh,
And
you gotta come.
well, now I'm adding it to my list, especially after I see that they have y'all up there. So I know that, you got some people that are fighting back. And so I go to Cleveland often. That's where my dad's side of the family is from. And that's
Okay.
like around the corner. So maybe I'm going to squeeze in a little day or two trip over there to Detroit to come and see what we can disrupt together.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we got some disruption planned.
Good.
I don't want to say it over here.
Okay.
But it's coming up, and so I'll let you know. Maybe you might be in the area and want to pop up on us.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I want to start off with saying, you often say justice starts before the courtroom, and that's our title tonight. So what does that actually mean? Because here in Michigan, I know we are probably number 5, or we're in the top 10 for wrongful convictions right here. And so, and even this week, there was a man exonerated after being in prison 27 years for a crime he didn't do, And then they exonerated, well, they let him go because they decided, hey, instead of saying that there's nothing tying you to this, well, we just gonna let you go with prejudice just in case something coming up. But ain't nothing coming up, and we're not gonna. But instead, so with all that being said, what is that?
Yeah.
It starts before the courtroom, justice.
So it's exactly why, what you just said, first of all, thank y'all again for allowing me to be here. I really love this platform that y'all have. Like, there's no change that ever starts unless you have the community, right? Actually doing the work. And we cannot just rely on our elected officials or whatnot. No, that's not their job. It's us. It's our job to do it. Thank y'all for that. When I say justice starts before the courtroom, it's the exact reason. Like when you were talking about that man that's been exonerated after 27 years, nothing burns my flesh up more than that, right? Hearing that, because it's like, if we were to stop focusing so reactively, right? Everything about the criminal justice system is reactive. We all want to do help. We want to help people after they've already, been sentenced to prison, after they've been made a felon, right? After they've already taken that plea. instead of helping them proactively. And that's all that time when they have fighting that case, right? When we all get concerned and prior to them ever getting there. And so that was why I created my business, because I don't think that we should have to wait until somebody should have to do 27 years or whatever, right? And then be found innocent later on, where we did the work ahead of time. If we had someone, and why I really connected to your son's story about the inadequate defense. If you watch my videos, I am hard on lawyers. Because they're like, what do you do? We know the prosecutor's against me. We know the judge is doing all of these different things. We know all of that's going on. But when my last line of defense, my own lawyer is playing for the other team, what chance do I really have? Right. And so we as citizens have to know how to properly utilize these lawyers. We got to know how to hold them accountable, and we got to know how to aid in our own defense. And so just starting before the courtroom starts with everyday people. And I have a framework around that: MFN, mindset, finesse, and non-negotiables. And in that, it's helping people understand exactly how to be strategic in this system, right, prior to them being charged by it. So that means before our children, like while our children are in school, this is what they need to be learning. In churches, I did a whole lecture last year with American Baptist College, which John Lewis went to. It's a historically Black college or university down here. I did a lecture called Advocating for the Least of Us, how churches can have a greater role in helping end mass incarceration, right? So in churches, being able to teach legal literacy like you teach Sunday school, like that has to be what the move is, because this is the new civil rights movement. When Black Americans are 6 times more incarcerated, when 97% of people keep taking pleas, we don't get to play this anywhere else. We have to play it right here in this day, like right here. And and I apologize. My son came in and waving at me with his new little haircut while I'm trying to do a podcast. Hi, baby.
But I want to see the haircut now, but we get there. Come
here, David. Okay, he may have ran on out. He had locks at first, and so just out on spree, he said he wanted to come here, baby. They want to see your haircut. And so I'm on a podcast and it's live. It's what you get.
Hi, sweetheart. I like your hair.
Yeah.
Fresh to death.
Love you. Bye-bye. So close my door. Have a good time. All right. Thank y'all. I'm so glad it was but my little sweet he cut his little locks. He want to show me his hair. So anyway, that's what I do. I really try to dive in and have conversations around how organizations, churches, everyday people can take proactive steps, not reactive steps, but proactive steps to be fighting. So that way we don't have to be stuck right here arguing, justice for Gerard, right? Or, how does this man gonna get his life back on the line? He's missed 27 freaking years. You know what I mean? Like, that's punishment enough. So that is why I preach justice starts before the courtroom.
Yes,
I love that.
So go ahead, Leslie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just thinking one of the ways that Robin and I work together. She used to host a panel called "When You're Stopped by the Police," because I know I grew up hearing what to do so you wouldn't be stopped by the police. But at this point, we need to quit saying what to do to not be stopped, because we all gonna get stopped. And same thing with this,
Especially when Black Americans are 6 times more incarcerated. So it's like, we don't have the opportunity to wait. You just got to, like, I used to teach at Tennessee State University, which is a historically Black college university here. And I saw the curriculum, and it's like, we're teaching this theoretical stuff. And these are mainly Black children. And I'm like, I don't have time to teach them theory when there's a strong likelihood. It doesn't matter who you are. If you are a Black person, you are likely to come into contact with the system. And so I don't have time to teach you theory. I got to teach you practicality. And so if any of you all, for your audience is watching, I was talking about Sunday rights, doing all the pleading with the churches. If y'all follow me over on MFN on TikTok, EMEFFEN, we are doing a live every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. And we're teaching legal literacy for Sunday school, right? So
Sunday, that's cool. That is really cool, because we need that, because you need to know how to today you need to know how to survive the police stop, right?
Hello.
It's no longer the conversation on how not to. you got to know how to survive. There was a young man just was that 2 weeks ago in Grand Rapids on a bike. On a bike, was shot in the back of his head
while he was getting mauled by a pit bull, by the canine. He was already getting mauled by the dog, and by the canine. They still shot him.
Killed them. So we have to. The conversation has to be about surviving.
Absolutely.
The encounter, because the encounter is a death sentence. You won't have to worry about mold if you're not here. You know, that's a whole nother story. But that's where that's 2026. Fast forward, that's where we need to be. That's why mindset needs to be. And I like that, like teaching it like in Sunday school, because that's simply how you had to do it. And all these movements that we're talking about, the civil rights movement and everything, that was birthed from the church.
Yes.
And so for whatever reasons, it has been taken away from it, and it has to be back incorporated there. Absolutely. Because it has to be a trusted, safe space where people can go there and get this information.
It was the heart of the civil rights movement, right? Like, I mean, this was led by the community. The churches were the backbone of it. You know, that's where we went to go strategize. That's where we went to go organize. And so, like, we got to get back to making sure the church is not just focusing on food ministries, not just focusing on prison ministries, right? Let's focus on some proactive justice ministries, some ways that we can also be proactive, because the church has, first of all the voters. The church has the voters. So any of those elected officials, those attorneys who want to be elected officials, at some point, they're going to be coming along through the churches, trying to get you to vote for them. Like, our churches have to just take a better stance, you know? They have to take a bigger stance and make sure that this is important and actually recognize it as a civil rights movement. But there are a lot of reasons that they hesitate. And so I kind of talk around that with the workshop I do as well.
Yes. I want to play one of your videos and we can talk about it. But this one, I was like, yes. Your lawyer, when your lawyer is your ops.
We want to ask questions like, how the hell are Black Americans 6 times more incarcerated, right? And then all of the reform efforts are looking at, the police, the judge, the DA, look at the criminal defense attorney, right? Because what happens? What really happens when the one who is supposed to protect us, that's our last line of defense, is working against us, right? This is why it is so crazy that the majority of efforts to fight this systemic harm, right, this generationally devastating legacy of control, which is mass incarceration, all of the efforts are reactive, coming after someone that already pled guilty or been found guilty, and versus when, right, in the interim, where that 97% of people plead during that long time frame. Those are where the efforts need to be more concentrated. And so, boom, this is the importance of aiding in our own defense. It is time to learn this criminal shit like our lives depend on it. And luckily, I'm here to help you with just that.
When I saw that video, I was like, you better say it, girl.
Right. So from a mom who has lived it, with a family member, and then more recently with my son, it's very hard to, especially with my son, it's hard to figure out what's okay to say. I was constantly, stop. So how do you balance like legal strategy? I'm a lay person, you know what I'm saying? How do you balance that legal strategy when the defense attorney is, saying, you can't say this, can't say that, can hurt, because, you don't want to hurt the person you love. So how do you strike that balance?
I love that you asked that question. So I was teaching a Fight Your Case mini series on TikTok just recently, and we have a resource that's a Fight Your Case journal. And it's, it's one of those things that I created because I teach a lot of advocates and I teach a lot of people how to aid in their own defense, and I show them how to basically play this game. You need to have a playbook and you need to have your own, right? And so with that, I talk a lot around parents, right? And also in my books, I talk a lot around parents. Like, parents can definitely hurt your case, right? Parents can definitely hurt your case. Let me give you an example. And here's the kicker. The children don't know their rights, but a lot of times the children don't know their rights because the parents don't know their rights either. And their parents didn't know their rights because they never taught us any legal literacy or any of civics in school, not in a substantive way, right? Now, I tell you, I always teach you a little theoretical, but baby, I'm Black. I need you to teach me more practical. So parents sometimes don't recognize it, but a lot of times, I remember there was a cop that came to a client's door before, and this lady, her child was accused of having like broken in somebody's house or something, and they come to her door and they're like, your son just did ABCDFG. We need to come in and we need to look blah blah blah. And it's like at this moment, she's like, hold on, what's going on? And they're like trying to show her a video of him doing it. And what is the first thing you think of when you see a video and you maybe recognize your child on there? You might get mad. You might be like, what the hell? I know I didn't teach them better, because you're thinking about how they're going to, view you. But that's at that moment, we have to stop worrying about how anybody's going to view us or anything. We got to remember we have the right to be innocent until proven guilty. And as soon as I'm being accused of anything, my child's being accused of anything, my little spidey senses are heightened right now, and I'm in protection mode. All right. So that means that I have the right to stay silent, right? The Fifth Amendment give me the right to stay silent and lawyer up. So I'm looking at that. I don't have to make I'm not making any kind of any sounds like, oh my God, I can't believe that, because that can be used against your child now, right? I'm not gonna waive my right to, nor am I waiving my child's right, my Fourth Amendment to be searched. So I'm not letting you come in here, right? So, hey, officer, I understand what the allegation is. I'll get a lawyer and we'll reach out to you, okay? Have a good one. I can't believe this is your child doing this. This is a bad thing. And so in that manner, she just that mom, she didn't know. So she did make an admission. Moms have also got on jail calls and talked to their children who are in jail and effed up because, you're mad, first of all. And it's like, then you got to spend all this money. And it's like, you want to know if they really did it or not. And it's like, you harming them when you ask them these questions on the jail calls, right? So it's like, who cares at this point if they did it or not? They have the right to be innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not asking no questions on no jail calls. I ain't talking about none of that. All I'm about to do is let's get in place and try and get you the best defense. Now, you get a lawyer and your lawyer's telling you this and they're telling you A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is what you should do. And you're feeling like, hold on, well, the reason I train advocates and train people is because you need to know how to be in a conversation with him. With that lawyer, what did they do, right? Because if you hired them, they work for your child. So now it's like, hey, what did you do? What all did you look into? What evidence did you get? What's ABC? And they're like, okay, well, this is not the best manner of doing it. Well, why do you say that? What other options do we have, right? You got to be ready to jump on and challenge them and not just kind of defer to them like we do doctors, right? Sometimes we do that with our doctors. And if you got to be ready, like, how you have a friend, that attorney Robin, who went to go see her. And I really love that she did that. And she is spreading the message of what she saw, because lawyers are credible. So using their credibility in that manner is very necessary. But you could contact Robin or someone else if you have lawyers who like legal disruptors and say, hey, you know what I mean? Can I just ask you about this case? I want to get a second opinion on this, like we do with doctors, right? Is this the only method? Is this the only manner? So what I'm doing is just teaching you how to basically advocate better on behalf of not just yourself, but also your child, and how to not make any admissions or anything of that nature that may harm them later on down the line in their case. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question, Leslie?
Yes, I think you did. This is so good because in some ways it's too late now, but it's
okay, because guess what? It happened though. This is not just you. This is every parent. It's every parent.
Because especially when you have your little things, your the key of events. What I did tell them, because because I have seen people, what I did do, which I'm happy about. As soon as he got a warrant, um, he came to the house and we talked with no phones, no nothing, no nothing. So I
Good.
I said, don't spare nothing. Tell me all the details. You know what I'm saying? If you had a if he was there, if he wasn't there, but I just want to know so that you don't have me out. Well, I just don't have me out here looking dumb. You know what I'm saying?
And I love that you say that, Leslie, because you're naming the thing. You're naming the thing because a part of us is like, and then we also know our children, just how that he came in here, I love that little bitty face, but baby, that face does a lot. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the face ain't always telling the truth. And sometimes that face is making shit up,
Right.
However, comma. Instead, what we have to do is in that moment, take ourselves out of it, right? Even that fact of maybe having us looking stupid, take ourselves out of it and say, hold on, time out. This child got the right to be innocent until proven guilty, right? So when you was in that room with just him and you, and that's fine. And if it stays in there just between y'all, cool. Right. So he's giving info so you can help him hire a lawyer, bring this lawyer on, make sure that lawyer can give him the best representation. But that information doesn't ever need to be passed on to anybody else. We can't talk about it with our sisters, our cousins, our aunties and grandmamas. We can't talk about it with nobody else because this is your child's right, to be innocent until proven guilty. And the more people you tell about it, or you're saying these other things, then, or if you tell the cops, right, they can utilize that now against your son. Right. And so now you have lessened his defense. You have where it's more probable that he's going to take a plea because now they can be like, oh, we just going to use your mama to come up here and force her to testify, on what we know, blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah, that's exactly. So I had a situation where, Robin was too busy. She couldn't help it. But the cheapest lawyers I could find, because it was so convoluted, was like $25,000, and I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I did a fundraiser. One, because I needed help with that, but also I needed to press because he wasn't receiving the medications he was supposed to get. Okay. So and he was, I could tell that was a big issue. So by doing that, as soon as the fundraiser went up, I received calls, texts, direct messages. My ex-husband called me at 4:00 in the morning. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, people called, they want to know the blow by blow. And so
ain't nothing to talk about. Guess what you do? Because as a disruptor, what you let them know is, hey, my child has been accused. This is what he is being accused of. He has a right to be innocent until proven guilty, and we're gonna put on a vigorous defense. He has a right to a vigorous defense. That is what lawyers are supposed to give, right? A zealous defense. And so that would be the bulk of what I'm saying. Hey, my child has been accused of A, B, C, D, F, G. We know exactly what this area is like. We know how hell it was just a child who you said was just riding his bike, got shot in the back of his damn head. There's children who y'all got all these wrongful convictions over there. You know what I mean? So we know the place we live in, and I am making sure that I'm doubling down on making sure my child has a vigorous defense because I don't want him to end up like everyone else. I want him to really actually have his right. And so people can call and do all that. No, we're not talking about any of that. And that's what I talk about with churches, right? And I literally of them. It's crazy, Jay, that you played that video. I wish I would have sent you the video over. Y'all brought up West Tennessee. I was just in Memphis, and I did an underground rights tour down there. That was the first stop, and I was actually in the Centenary Church. And when I tell y'all, the same place where Reverend Jesse Jackson and MLK were there strategizing, and so it was set on fire. And I really went really hard in the paint, talking about parents, and I also talked about lawyers. And so the whole portion, and I challenged the church. We talked about why the church doesn't really like to show up and fight for people who are labeled criminals. Michelle Alexander talked about that in the new Jim Crow. We talked about it, and it's the same reason that Claudette Colvin was not the face of the civil rights movement. It was being honest, right? Mm-hmm. We were perfect people who did not have any blemishes to fight for, because if you were blemished in any way, then, your claim would, get discredited by the white people. And so that thought process has passed on over time, and it makes it hard for people who are, Christian or whatever, to they snub their nose at people who are labeled criminal. And that's why everybody wanted to call and say, hey, well, did he really do it, or what's going on? You know what I mean? People want to know.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I think at one point I counted 100 calls that I received in a week. It was like I did no work, I did nothing but field calls.
Because people feel like you shouldn't fight if you know he did some any kind of if he did it or something. Why are you fighting for him? And that's like the mindset, the M in mindset, finesse, non-negotiables. Is the mindset portion that we're talking about, which is disrupting that mindset. Oh my God, this person is guilty just because he's been accused of it. Take a step back. Let's remember something, right? For him to be accused of that, all it took was probable cause. What is probable cause? That only means that he probably had to do it. And who made the decision of probability that he did anything? It was an officer with some basic training, right? Yeah. And this basic training did not remove any of his preconceived notions, any of his maybe racist ideologies, it did not remove any of those things. And so that is why people are charged at the rates they are charged. And so when we start dealing with people contacting us in that manner, the disruptor in you, and what I train in my advocacy training is you have to be able to reset their mindset around it, right? And challenge them in that manner. Like, hey, this is why he was charged. It was only probable cause. This is the only evidence they have. My client or my child is entitled to a vigorous defense. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing. He's not going to be another child around here doing this, right? He's not going to be another child around here with another name.
Yeah. And so I just don't know.
I wanted to say this part. This is why we've been fighting so hard for Krystal. Yeah. The same thing. Because she's in prison. People want to know what she did before they are concerned about mold growing out of her body. Because it's more important to them. Even when we're talking to legislators or elected officials or leaders, they want to go straight to the oldest, and look up what she did. Like, because she did something, she not worthy.
She deserves this now.
She's not worthy of clean air, water. When we're on, when we're posting about it, or there's a news line about it, or something about it. Well, even people who look like us, well, you do the crime, you got to do the time.
Yep.
And so that's their narrative, to look away.
Yeah.
But it could be easily you one traffic stop or one incident of being in there your own self. Yeah. So when you're saying that, we're talking about Krystal because Krystal is the face of it. She has done the work to put it out here like that. But there's so many of them in there, and you want to worry about first what they did. Then it's like it's inhumane, and you're paying for it.
Yeah.
And so we find ourselves trying to redo that mindset, because she's in prison doesn't mean that she has to have mold coming out of her body. She's a mother, she's a grandmother, she's a sister, she's a daughter. Does she have to have mold coming out her ears because she's inside?
Exactly. Or do you need to wait 27? Or do we need to wait 27 years until she's finally vindicated, and then have that come out, and then we get to care then, right? Is that what it is? That after 27 years, say for instance, like you said, she's in there wrongfully convicted. We know all of these different things that went into place. You just had a man that came out 27 years ago. The Innocence Project is full.
Yeah, it is.
They are full. There are a lot of people trying to do that exact same thing. They are full. And so it's going to take years and years for anyone who is innocent to ever have that day where it's like, oh, okay, now I'm vindicated. So I now didn't deserve to have that. Now I can be. No, you deserve humane treatment. However, our community, right, because of the thought process of our community, our mindset, it is easy to disappear people in the criminal justice system. It's easy to sweep them up under the rug because of the preconceived notions we have around it. So we we are responsible for why a lot of times these things happen because we turn the blind eye to it as well. So, and that's in our own community, and that's a jacked up thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy. Boy, this is so full. It's just I'm thinking about Krystal, and it's not just with this. It's this idea that we have to make people valuable enough to have such basic humanity.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
I yeah.
And it's sad.
So yeah.
Humanity is the key, like today, we had the empathy, the day of empathy today,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so one of the speakers said, we have to have empathy first, like so we can look at others. So it starts within. It starts, how you're looking at things, how you projecting things. And so we can't, if you're looking at things like, well, she should have did a crime, right? Then when you're looking for empathy, because that's your consciousness, that's the energy you're bringing, somebody's going to bring that same to you.
Or to
So
your
it starts
children.
with us, yes.
Yeah, it's
And when we're talking about being reactive or being proactive, we have to proactively retrain ourselves to let go of these narratives that keep us oppressed. Because sometimes it's not just the system that's keeping us oppressed, it's how we think and the narratives that we feed ourselves that's keeping us oppressed.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
another question for you. I'm thinking about what also so I had a cousin that was killed by the Lansing Police Department this past August. Little cousin,
I'm so
and
sorry for that.
thank you. We still have the videotapes. No, it's been a mess, but I'm not. His parents are handling that. And immediately, which I saw, time and time again, when it's clear that they may have been wronged, all the help groups, the advocates, whatever, come. And how do you how would a criminal defense lawyer or as a defense, how do they navigate? Because like I was told, by my lawyer, for my son's lawyer, like, we can't do all that. You can't have out. Yeah, he was like, we can't have all the Al Sharpton activity while I'm trying to do this. And
Okay, what was this lawyer's complexion?
he was black.
He was a black lawyer.
Yeah, and he did, and I'm not gonna put him drive him under the bus because he did do a decent job. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things I would have done different. There were so many pieces of misconduct, like the judges kept moving around, and one of the judges fell asleep twice during the trial. Girl, that was a trip. Yeah, so
Wow.
it's not it wasn't really an indictment on what he could have done in that particular case. I'm just in general, like, how do you blend the two? Because I do see sometimes these movements can actually weaken the trial too. Because if you get a group of people riled up, whatever, and they don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Girl, so listen, just asking, and I mean, and I asked the complexion of the lawyer because sometimes it matters. But a lot of times, even you'll have lawyers of color, and they are just kind of complicit sometimes, or they're just used to the old way of doing things. They don't want to ruffle any feathers. They don't want this judge looking at them like they've done this or whatever. And so I feel like that's the wrong approach, right? I'm one of those lawyers. I created what I call criminal defense organizing here in a case that I did. And the reason is because when you're fighting a system of oppression, you need all eyes and all hands on deck. Okay. And a lot of times these, lawyers get used to just the old way of doing things, which is like, oh, well, let me just go over here and try to, shake a hand and, call such and such and get this done. Or, oh, let me go. Let's just do it quietly and I'll ask a friend or whatever. That is not, what I'm saying? And if it works, okay, cool. That shit's not working. Well, then we're not playing nice anymore. We're not doing all this little he ha 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 and let me protect my friendship. No.
Right.
If my client has been wrong in this manner, right, I'm gonna now go collaborate with the community organizations that I find to be disruptors. The one who I know do work in the community. I'm empowering you now. Hey, come here. I know y'all don't do court watch all the time, but I'm about to train you how to do it. Right? You ain't coming up in here protest. You're not coming up here protesting out loud. Your presence is your protest. And that's what we did in a case called Disrupt Manchester. We educated them on how to come out and use their presence as a protest. We organized with a lot of other community organizations. We ignited the community, right, by essentially giving them the things that they can do. Hey, you can request records. Like, do you know if you had a group of people in there watching this trial and a damn judge is falling asleep? Hello, we're filing bar complaints, right? We're filing judicial complaints on you because my client, right, my friend, my son, my cousin, my community member deserves your attention. He deserves your full attention in this matter. And so that's what the community can do. They can keep eyes on these elected officials. They can keep eyes on these lawyers, these government officials. They can keep eyes on these people. And then when they see something that's wrong, then they can go back and report to the community. That's not the lawyer having to get out and be Al Sharpton. Nobody's asking you to do that. And that's oftentimes looked down upon by your counterparts who don't look like you. Right? Your counterparts who don't look like you are like, do this or blah, 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 whatever. Listen, in a criminal justice system that incarcerates Black people at astronomical rates, you get innovative.
By any means necessary.
Exactly.
Right.
Innovative. You don't play. You can't win. You're not going to win playing by these old types of rules where it's like a gentleman's game. Oh, this is a gentleman's game. Oh, we're friends. Oh, I go to we eat lunch together. I'm about to start cussing. No.
Yeah. And so that's Michigan that you described. It's a big gentleman's game. Nobody.
The legal profession. That's how it is everywhere. It's just that's why you got to find your legal disruptor lawyers. And a lot of them are not going to be the ones who got all these bar awards. They're not going to have all these association things. They're not the ones, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times lawyers just care about what other lawyers think about them. That's really it.
The same with elected officials.
That's it.
Yeah.
They only care about
I know you had to leave early, so I just want to.
No, my son's gone now. I got a little time, Jay. So I can.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm about to get.
We got a little bit of time. Our son left now.
Okay. So I want to know, that you started describing a legal disruptor, but describe to us what is a legal disruptor. You started describing them.
Yes.
And I don't know if we have any here. But what do we look for? We're looking for a legal disruptor. Because I'm telling you, even with my son, I'm fighting with someone who is, establishment, right? Yeah. So they're just following, going with the flow, right?
Yes.
My son is older, I'm following him. I'm supporting, but I'm following, right? But, with everything that's going on with like this situation with Krystal and other people and all these wrongful convictions in this state, in the city of Detroit, in Wayne County, let's say that, we need legal disruptors to bring this type of situation more into the limelight and not just normalize. I mean, we have this one police officer that's connected to a lot of these wrongful convictions. And nobody's talking about her why she's not in cuffs. They're just saying, hey, we just let this guy go after 27 years. Well, how many have you let go with this lady behind it? So I think if it was more legal disruptors in the pictures, it would be more noise about her. And, so how do we find a legal disruptor? What are we supposed to be looking at? When we're looking for someone that's a legal disruptor.
That's a good question. And so, listen, legal disruptors don't necessarily just have to be lawyers, right? You just got to find people who actually, challenge these systems meaningfully and substantively. Meaning, have they, filed lawsuits against the city? Have they challenged, elected officials? Have they, you'll see signs because, again, lawyers are overworked in general. So if we're looking for a legal disruptor, who is a disruptor in general, is somebody who sees a harmful system and they challenges it, right? That's it. They see a harmful system and they challenge it. And challenging that harmful system, and usually if it's a legal system, then you're a legal disruptor in doing this. Now, when you're seeing a person who's doing it, what you want to be looking for is, because all the time, since if you're looking for a lawyer who's a legal disruptor, lawyers are a lot of times busy, but you want to go look at what types of things that they've done, right? Like, have they filed any lawsuits? Like, what are they talking about? Are they usually, going to speak at different churches or organizations? Are they doing these types of things where they're trying to educate the community? Like myself, I am from the DAM community, disproportionately affected, marginalized minority community. That's DAMM. And so because i.e. the hood, right? And because I grew up in that place, right? And I can see things, right? I see it for exactly what it is. And I just refuse to call it anything else. I know exactly what you're doing. I know exactly why you're doing it. I know you don't care about people from this place. I know that we're over policed, right? I know that this is pretty much just what you do. And so because I have that understanding of being from the hood and then also being educated legally, I'm just a double, I'm a threat here, because I know how to be very strategic in this manner. And I know how to call out the ultimate thing that you never say. Right. And so, and challenging, and that means even being willing to call out people that look just like us, who are in these places. Right. And so we unset a judge here in Nashville back in 2022. And it had never happened before. So we made Nashville history, unseen a criminal court judge. And it was because I looked and I said, I think you're harmful. I see how you're doing this. You A, B, C, and you look like us, but you're harming us, right? You have an old theology. You have that thought process of, I need to be harder. We got to be twice as better, right? We got, come on now. Right. That thought process. When you have a judge enacting that, what does that look like in real life, right? It means harsher punishment for the people that look like us. So that way, because we're supposed to be twice as better. Anywho, so a legal disruptor is someone who is willing to see a harmful system and challenge it. There's someone who is not concerned with solely being, recognized under politicians, not being recognized under awards in that manner. There's someone who actually is in service to the community, and you should be able to see that by the work they've done, right? In the community. So be looking for those type of people. So if sometimes you'll have lawyers who have done some stuff, but they get so busy that they, don't engage again. But it's up to you all. If you have, you got the Elbert Williams Voting Corner, you got another organization. Well, you who this lawyer is, grab them, right? Get on their schedule. Are there anybody who serve in social justice movements, right? Like the NAACP, is there a National Action Network chapter there? Like, are there people who are serving in that manner? Maybe they haven't thought about doing it. Lawyers are busy. Or if you want it to be a lawyer, if you want someone of that nature, they're busy. So it's like you come up with the thought process. Hey, we want to do a know your rights seminar. We want to help train people on this. I know you've done something similar. Could you come do that? Sometimes lawyers are just looking for someone to assist. They want to do this kind of work, but they don't have the time to put it together themselves. Right. And so, but also it doesn't always have to be a lawyer. Sometimes you can just have a person, right? We have someone like that who is very much a legal disruptor. Like, she shows up, she organizes court watch. She does not play. So if there's something going on, like if I have a case and say, for instance, I know a district attorney did some really jacked up stuff to one of my clients, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, we need court watch on this case because the judge is tripping. The DA just did ABCDFG. I need some people to put eyes on this. And then afterwards, I want y'all, you guys will report back what you see to the community, right? That's court watch. She organizes things of that nature. She organizes forums. So it can actually just be an advocate who does these things as well. But those are the things you want to look for. Those are people who are in service to the community. Those are people who are ensuring the community is staying informed. These are people showing up in different places and challenging harmful systems.
Right. Wow. I think we have a lot of people that could be willing, but don't know how. Like I took, when everything popped off over in DC with the National Guard being released and stuff, they, Harriet's Wildest Dreams started having courtroom watching training. And so, and being, a healthy observer. And so I went through the training online last year and I was like, oh, wow, this would have been so helpful to have. You know what I mean? It's the hindsight. Again, it's that thing of being reactive versus proactive. But I didn't know that that was even something to think about, like that I should pack the courtroom, because I thought if I had a decent lawyer, you know what I'm saying, and I was there. Yeah.
No, but think about it, Leslie. When you just I love how you just even bring that up, and even us being on this call, having these conversations, we're in different places and we do different things, so we get to learn from one another, right? On how we can do these things. But when you bring up being in that place and not even realizing, oh, well, I should pack this courtroom out. But why should we pack that courtroom out? Let's think of that. Why should I pack the courtroom out? Well, if the judge is an elected official, right? What is their term? Here in Tennessee, our judges get 8 years, right? So every 8 years, they running around here begging for votes. We got a special election going on right now, right? It's happening at this very moment. They need you to get in this seat. So when you pack the community in that thing and put eyes on them, then your job is at risk, Judge. If you're up here mistreating our people, okay, cool. If I then bring in the churches that maybe are disruptors, I don't know if y'all heard of the Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference. That was a Samuel DeWitt Proctor Conference. That is a conference, and they have an organization, and I went down there with American Baptist College to the conference for the first time last year. And it is more of the pastors that are more, see Jesus as a disruptor. Right, the more so, in which he was, Jesus, right. And so, in those, and I was able to find other pastors and churches that were more about the movement. Like, I'm about this. We're about holding people accountable. And then, why is that important? Because guess what? These politicians come to your churches to get your votes. Right? Black churches always here in the South. Black churches let politicians come. They be speaking. They walking around. Doing all this
they do that here.
Same here.
White churches don't allow that. They don't do that. I do that down here. So what I'm saying is, when you have a church that's involved, full of voters, right? Who are, they have a proactive justice ministry. So these are voters, people who put people in office, and they're packing out of court, and they got all eyes on our elected officials, including the DAs. Right, who are government officials and work for you, including the lawyers, the criminal defense lawyers, who are private lawyers. However, they're bound by rules of professional conduct, and likely they're going to be coming at you for your vote at some other time in the future, because they eventually want to be maybe a judge, councilman, whatever. We have to pack out the courtroom because that's leverage. We know what you want. We hold the key to it, right? And if you're not doing right by our community, we plan on going out and making sure they not only know it, they remember it when you come back through here asking for our vote. That's why you got to throw them out.
So, we have a lot of churches in the city, and probably even where Leslie lives, that have prison ministries.
Oh, we don't have prison ministries. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they have prison ministries, and they go to the prison, Huron Valley, and they conduct service. And then they come back and say nothing, right? So every Sunday, I talk to Krystal. I talk to her every day, but I talk to her on Sundays at the church. And so she tells me I find it really interesting that these people come in there and do service and don't come out and say nothing about what they see, what they smell, what they hear, nothing. They just go in.
They don't do they do baptisms. They do baptisms. Yeah, no, there are some in this area. I don't know if Ann Arbor, but next in Ypsilanti, they do. Yeah, they go do all of that. That's
so they
true.
Go through all of the church stuff, but no coming back, educating the community, having a voice. And so these people go in there and see her with all this mold coming out her ear, her face this big here. They want to pray for her and put their hands all over, and then they go home like nothing never happened.
Come on,
I just feel so uncomfortable with, when having these conversations with people, because right now we're putting on for March the 23rd, we're having a prayer a community prayer thing for the women of Huron Valley, right? And the first time we did it, we kind of had to, some of the ministers, they wanted to know what she did and this and that and all this other stuff instead of saying, hey, we're going to pray. We're going to educate our church. We're going to let them know what's going on, And so I know you talk about that in your,
yeah, child.
training. So I just want you to get your feelings on that because I just find that so weird. It's weird to me that these people is going in there doing all this hand laying and no coming out saying nothing. So talk about it.
Listen, child. Woo. Okay. So let me just say that, I have never felt someone more in my life. I have literally, that's why I argue, I did this, I did the lecture. That's who I've been my entire life. I grew up in a missionary Baptist church and I used to do all these plays confronting, what's going on and things of that nature, like, from our past to now. And so it's like, I'm really a confronter. Like I like to I feel like confrontation is the first step, right, for us to actually get some resolution. And so I would try to confront the church with some of these very hypocritical things, right? Which is that you're going to go and you're going to help people reactively, right? That just is what it is. Let's call it what it is. You're willing to help people react. And the reason that you don't come out and say much is because a portion of you feels like everything they're going through is because of their own doing and they deserve it, right?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. A portion of you feels that,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah. They belong. They're where they belong. If they see the roof cracking open, they're like, let me help you with your soul so when you get out, you don't have to come back here.
Come on now, because you don't believe truly in the concept of innocent until proven guilty.
So second chances.
Listen, or here's the kicker. That's the thing. It's not even about second chances. Move the second chance out the way. You don't believe that the Constitution apply. You won't allow the Constitution to apply to all of us. You won't let it apply to us because you prejudge, right? When probable cause. So basically what you're saying is that, because Mr. Police Officer, he made a decision that it was probable cause. He accused you. It has to be the truth. Nothing else for us to see here. Right? That's it. So, and it's a mindset, right? And I y'all, when I tell y'all, I got into it. And you know what? I'm going to be posting it on social media. It's National Criminal Justice Month. I'm going to be posting the lecture. And I even talked about slavery, right? We talked about the slave syndrome, right? We talked about the framework that was used to create the perfect slave. All of those things we talked about. Yes. Hello? We talked about it. So like when we think about these things of how that, I mean, and I can like y'all actually, let me see. That is something that people get a bit uncomfortable about, but it is absolutely true. And actually, let me see. I have to send it over. I was seeing if I could pull it up real quick. But anywho, what I want to really challenge in this moment is, when we think about Luke 4:18-19, let's talk to our church people, right? The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives. Hello, release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And so when we see this, we're concerned about the oppressed, right? Who is more than the 6 times more incarcerated? So at the end of the day, we can't be 6 times more incarcerated unless it was out. We're helping in this, in that mindset of the church is so counterproductive. And so your job as a legal disruptor is to keep challenging that mindset. Your job, I mean, there's a whole thing going on TikTok right now. Why do you believe millennials have left church? Why have so many people leaving the church? Because the church is not doing things as productive. They're not doing things that are actually assisting people. You're just praying for people and turning your head to the side and saying, oh, okay, well, it is what it is. Because that's easy.
Right.
That's easy. right?
Mm-hmm.
The hard thing to
Mm-hmm.
do is for you actually to strategize and come up with a way to actually hold these systems accountable. The easy
Yeah.
thing to do is to pray about it and keep moving on with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And those are not disruptors. And so at the end of the day, I don't think that what we have to do, our job is not going to be we're not going to change everybody's mindset around this, but our job is to have those uncomfortable conversations with one
Yeah.
another. It is to
Yeah.
challenge those thought processes. It is to sit down with each other and say, hey, at the end of the day, let's think about what's been going on and whether this serves us. Let's talk about the 20 man who just get out after 27 years. Instead of rejoicing at this moment and celebrating him and all of that, why don't we have a conversation about how it happened? Who turned
Right.
the blind eye for it to happen? Right?
Right. Right.
Who did that? And then how is it happening right now in this moment? And then what can we do to disrupt it? And we start having those kinds of conversations, then healing can actually start.
Yes. Yes, because right now, all we're looking at is we're reacting to something that has already happened.
Absolutely.
Instead of having conversation about how we can prevent this cycle from continuing,
Come on now.
inspiring all over the place.
I think it's also a level of, I mean, and I don't want to go too far in. If I go too far in, bring me back. But I think it's this idea of shame.
Yes.
Come on now.
I know so many folks, they don't want to talk about slavery. They don't want to talk about prison, slavery, none of it. It's shameful. Domestic work. My grandmother was a domestic. And when I was little, I would go with her. Hi, Reverend Clay. I would go with her to these, I don't want to say it the wrong way, but white folk houses. And and I never, my whole life, I've never been ashamed of my grandmother. My grandma was a great person. She treated everybody right. She would go to these places and whatever they wanted, wherever they was from, she learned how to cook. She could cook in every language. Okay. She did. She didn't just eat soul food. She knew how. That's how I know. That's why I have this big palate, which I need to bring back down. But so I think when there's a distance that we're taught to have between us and criminals or felons, whatever we call it, we have to create distance so that because we're shamed, because there's not one of us that don't have somebody in our family, little Pookie or whatever, has spent time. I mean, there's too many of us for us not to have a family, not some people in our family. And I watched it, the shame that they carry, but also in the family. You know what I'm saying? And so when there's got to be, because I am in the church, and I think that what I see is, I can see that a lot of people don't want to talk about it too much because they don't want to be seen as the regular black. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the struggle black. They don't want to be the struggle black. They want the milk and honey black.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? So
you preaching.
Yeah. So somehow to bring that back, when Albert Williams, to be really brief, was my great grand uncle. He was a voting rights activist with the NAACP down in Brownsville, Tennessee, which is just out of Memphis. It's outside of Memphis.
That's my friend. One of my best friends two of my best friends live in Brownsville.
Oh, wow. We got to talk later. Okay. So, but anyway, when he was killed by a mob, he was brought out by the actual sheriff at the time. Sheriff was moved for 19 years. He was a sheriff for 19 years. So that's how much they loved the fact he was lynching black folks down there. And the first thing came out of family's mouth when I was old enough to know, was about how, they say that he shared a banana with a white woman at the laundry. Not all about his work, that he was a hero, whatever, but it was this shame. And so now what I'm seeing is, now that, it's 80 some years later, there's people that are proud to say they're proud of Elvis Williams because now he's under the white gaze. Now the white gaze is saying, oh, he was a hero. He was the first voting rights martyr, blah, 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 blah. And so I just urge, I don't know how to do this, but it's a real problem for us to be proud of our own people.
Yes. Can I say something in here? Because I found what I was trying to find. And this is right on what you're saying. Remember, I told y'all the framework to make the perfect slave. And so MLK talked about this in his book, Where Do We Go From Here? And he talked about this is actually what was used is comes from historian Kenneth Stamp's book, The Peculiar Institution. And so the steps to make the perfect slave were always going to be is implant personal inferiority. You got make them stand in fear. You got mirror the master, which is the one I'm about to come to because it's right on what you were talking about. You got create a habit of perfect dependence. And I'm missing one, but let's come to mirror the master. So oppression is most effective. It's most effective when the oppressed start to police themselves, right? Slave owners knew that true control didn't come from chains alone. It came from convincing enslaved people to adopt the master's values, perspectives, and standards. Okay, so back then, enslaved people were taught to see the master as the standard. So the master deciding what's right and wrong. The master defined what was good and what was bad. The master's enterprise became the slave's purpose. So if you wanted to survive, you had to accept the master's world as truth. Right. And this laid the foundation for respectability politics. So now in this day and age, Black and brown people are taught to see themselves as the problem. The criminal justice system has done what the slave system did. It convinces us to accept their definition of good and bad, worthy and unworthy, criminal and innocent. OK, so the good Black person is the one who always plays by their rules. Right. The bad Black person is the one who's challenging authority. Right. The criminal is what is someone who looks like us. And so in this is why many of our own people judge and distance themselves from and fail to advocate for those caught in the system, right? It's the whole representation of the respectability politics like you were talking about, Leslie. Oh, pull your pants up. Speak properly. Why are you acting like a thug? Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? We are constantly told that our culture, our speech, our dress, and behaviors make us less deserving of justice, right? We are trained to believe if we just act right, the system will accept us. But history tells us different, right? MLK had on a suit and they still beat and arrested him. Black people were lynched in their Sunday best and Black women were brutalized while wearing maid uniforms. So that is literally when we come into the church and community's role, right? Of how do we redefine this narrative? Jesus didn't conform to the Roman Empire's expectations. He disrupted them, right? Moses teaching the Israelites to impress Pharaoh. We led them out of bondage. So our role is not to mirror the master. Our role is to break the master's mirror, right?
I know that's right.
That's it.
But we talk more about, we talk of Jesus suffering, Job, and we don't talk about Amos.
Hello?
The prophet of justice. We don't talk about Amos.
And then, girl, see now you playing games because we don't talk about how Amos, Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Ezekiel are all biblical prophets who were the boldest advocates of social justice. However, they had money too. They had significant financial means. But a lot of times you'll see all these nonprofits, they're going to tell us the only way you can help your people is if you do it for free. Right? Yes. If you do it for a little bit of money, you can't help your people and make no money. You're not going to help your people. You got to be broke. You got to be, what you want is me underfunded. And you want whatever initiatives I'm creating to die out. But if we start to really look at the disruptive process, if you start to look at the Galileans, of which Jesus was one, and how they treated the Galileans.
Yes.
Hello? History is just only repeating itself, but we only see the Jesus that people have taught us to see. This weak lamb and mild person who doesn't care about anything but your own personal salvation and wants you just to pray all damn day. No, Jesus said, get your ass out here and do right. Do be Jesus. Quit praying and talking about Jesus. Go be him.
Right. Shay said this all the time. Jesus was the lamb, but he was also a lion.
Yeah, he was.
So he was a disruptor. He was disrupting systems when he was shaking the table.
Absolutely.
We just know that one story, but we don't even focus on that because we focusing on the kind to be meek and loving and kind. And you can still be loving and kind and shake tables and tell the truth and disrupt them and speak truth to power. You could do all of that.
He wasn't just shaking tables, and he was challenging all of that. He was challenging all of the systems at that time frame. The way they were collecting money from the poor people. Had all the Pharisees and Sadducees, or these people who are supposed to be, they're working for the empire. Yes. So it's like Jesus was challenging every single thing that is systemic. And it was harming the least of the people. And it's like, we don't identify with that portion of it because people don't want us to identify with that portion of it. Right. And also because it's harder. You got to do more than pray when you identify with that portion of it.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have to take responsibility. You can't know something. You can't see somebody with mold coming out their ear and then just go home and do nothing.
You got to carry that.
Don't answer the text. Or, the legislators, we texting them. We got out of the text because I can't keep sending you pictures every day and sending you messages every day and you say nothing.
Come on. Or you only care when other people care. Or you only care when it gets mainstream, when it's picked up by other people. That happened again. That happened in Manchester.
Come on now.
That happened down here too. When they had 5 children that they forced into foster care right outside of here in a Nashville, in a little small red county, and it was all illegal. It was all over some inadmissible evidence. And we're down here screaming about it. We're telling people, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Ew, but ain't nobody making no moves. Soon as it got picked up by a bigger reporter and people start talking about it, start trending, now you care. Girl, please.
Dr. Clay, you say you got to be willing to lay your life down. Exactly.
Well, and you have to, and also I feel like you have to, it's back to the personal. It's all big, but it's all also personal. You have to know, you have to be in tune.
What does that mean? When you say you have to be willing to lay down your life, but like what? I'm interested, commenter. Like, what do you mean by that? When you say you have to be willing to lay down your life, what does that mean? You know what I mean? When you say that, what do you mean when you say that? Because I think that at some point, I think that we say, oh, you have to be like, what does that actually mean though? I have to be willing to actually just challenge the systems. Like, I don't have to be willing to lay down my life.
To die.
No, I should. And at the end of the day, if we all have the ability to be citizens, right, that should not ever mean that. Right? It should not ever mean that. You just got to be, you should have, what you need to be willing to do is just to challenge and be uncomfortable and maybe not be liked and maybe not be understood. A lot of people are not going to like it. It's not the comfortable thing to do. It's not the respectable thing to do because people want to go along to get along, but it's the right thing to do.
I think for me, laying down your life means you have to be willing to go against the status quo.
Yeah, I think that's what Dr. Clay, he's one of ours. I think that's what I'm just
saying for me because that's part of the life,
No. I hear you. I like to make sure, like, what you mean when you say that?
Right. I feel you because look, I know because I'll lay down my life for my kids, but not just everything coming up. Everything can't be laid down.
But you have to be willing to say, hey, you know what? I'm not doing this no more. We're not just going to sit over here and be quiet because you say be quiet or because you say ain't nothing to see here.
But I think also when you say lay down in life, I think about, and I don't know, keep going biblical terms, but it's, take up your cross and follow it. That's exactly, I knew it. Okay, we're on the same point. Lay down your life was what Jesus asked the disciples when he picked them up.
Yes.
To lay down. You got money. You got.
Yes, that's why I asked him what he meant. Okay. Yes.
You got everything. It was fishermen. Fishermen was the men's. This was the good. Today's. This was the ones that worked at the plant jobs. You know what I'm saying? They got can go buy you a couple of drinks after Friday work. Okay, so they have some good lives going on. And he lay down that life and you come with me.
There you go. I see. Yes, and I understand now. I was just having to check when I first saw it come across. I was like, hold on, and that's why. And here's a training lesson. So y'all, this is in real time training. Are you ready? Whenever a question comes up, I teach people this. When you understand, a lot of times questions will be coming at you, and sometimes our natural response is to say yes. Or to be like to agree with it, just to move along. I teach you not to do that because it happens on the stand a lot. They'll try to get a question and you'll just go ahead and naturally agree. No, ask the question, right? Ask, could you explain that more? What did you mean by that when you said that, right? Because I never want you to take my response out of context.
Right.
Exactly, because I'm an oversharer. If you guys already tell.
Yes.
And so people will take something I said and I'll hear it back to me.
Yep.
That's not what I said.
I did not
You know?
I did not say it like that. Like, what you mean? So, like, now always stop. If anybody ever asks you, especially if you understand, ever you testifying at all, if there's ever a question that comes out, I need you to say, listen, if you didn't understand it, hey, could you rephrase that? What did you mean when you said that? I'm not sure I quite understand. A lot of times we'll allow our inner, sometimes we will feel, people won't say that because they'll feel stupid, or they'll feel like people will think they're stupid if they do that. I don't care. If I'm understanding, you're taking my voice and you're listening to what I'm saying, I want you to, I want to make sure that what I put on the record is actually what I am intending to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what we Trisha and I have started a new thing called organization called Teach Them How to Fish. And basically, what we're doing is going to be teaching people how to be disruptors. And
I love it. Teach them how to fish. My granddaddy, I was raised by my grandparents. My granddaddy taught me how to fish. I know it takes patience, and I love that term. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. If there is one thing that you want to leave with people here that's listening, that's going to listen, because we get more listeners on the replay. Is there one thing that you want to that's important that people should know in this area, Michigan? Because we're gonna have to get you up here. We might have to get you up here to talk with us, teaching them how to fish. But we're gonna have to get you up here. But what is one important fact or thing that you want to leave with people in order to impact them to understand that justice starts before the courtroom?
It's crazy. I'm on podcasts all the time, and I never leave the same thought process. In this moment, I feel that what I want to leave with y'all is this. I know how we all were raised. We know, if we think about it, right? We know how we evolved here. I want us to take our mind back there from slavery to our parents, our grandparents, right? The civil rights movement, our parents, on up to where we are in this moment, and recognize that was conditioned. That's why I talked about creating the perfect slave, right? Mm-hmm. And the time frames our parents lived in is different than what we're living in this moment, right? But similar, mm-hmm. right? A lot of things are happening over. And so it is time for us to fully recognize that the civil rights movement that existed back in the 60s is not the same one right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of what happened after that is, Michelle Alexander talks about a lot in the new Jim Crow is that people, it became a purely legal type thing. Like we're just, we're getting all our rights. We're lawyers are the ones leading the charge, whatever, and it kind of dissipated from the church. It dissipated from the community. Right. And the issue is that the criminal justice system is the new playground. So like when we had a lot of law students, a lot of Black lawyers that go to law school, and the NAACP gives scholarships for them to practice civil rights. And it's like, well, hold on there. Yes, it's important, but guess what? That's not the playing field anymore. It's the criminal justice system. And a lot of times lawyers are scared to come out and actually, either own their own law practice or fight without having their hands tied, meaning fight from outside of the system, not becoming a public defender, not becoming a judge, not becoming a district attorney, but actually getting out here with the community and fighting. So what I want people to understand is that at this time frame, it is time for us to actually challenge our old mindsets. It is time for us to truly believe that all of us have the right? All of us have constitutional rights, and we need to utilize them fully, and that we have to allow one another to utilize them. We can't hinder one another, right? And finally, it's time for us to do more than just pray, right? Black people are not inherently bad, right? This person, just because they've been accused of something, it does not mean that's actually what they did. I talked about that when I was in Memphis at the Underground Rights Tour, when I was telling them about my parents. My mom is I'm a child of the crack epidemic, right? So I was raised by my grandparents. Both my parents were addicted to crack. My mom got arrested, and she's a user, but they charged her as a what? A seller.
A seller. Yes, I knew you was about to say that. That was my great uncle.
Hello, and then you know why they do that, right? They do that because then there's a higher likelihood that you're gonna take a plea. Unless the plea, it's the oldest trick in the game. Who made the determination to charge you as a seller? It was a probable cause determination. So there's nobody going to get in trouble for that. It's like, well, you probably could be a seller, right? But my strategy behind it was that I was going to ensure you took a plea. My mom had a public defender. She ended up taking a plea and becoming a felon. That's something that does not come off your record. But if her lawyer cared a little bit more, if her lawyer just would have looked a little bit deeper, they would have been like, oh, you don't even have your kids. Wow. No, this woman's a user. You need to charge her as such. And that would have been a misdemeanor on her record to this day. It had been something that never affected her. So what I'm saying is that in that scenario, my mom clearly did something. Right? But that's not the time for anyone to be on a call saying, hey, tell me what you did. Tell me if you did something wrong before I help you. Tell me blah, blah. No, she has the right to be innocent until proven guilty. She was charged higher. She had did something way less. So if our efforts to fight had been more proactive, if there were community organizations, if there were people who actually gave a damn, who were like, oh, hey, no, here's Rhonda. I looked into her family. Her children live with her grandmother. She's actually a user. Let's provide that information and let's get a better deal for her. Something that does not harm her record, something that allows her to come back out into society, right? If they would have looked a little deeper, and then other people have different things as well. Maybe their situation is they're just wrongfully convicted. But the point is that this system is stacked against us. It was intended to be stacked against us, and we need to change the way we fight it. And so I'd love for y'all to follow me over on TikTok at MFNEMEFFEN. We have books, resources. I have a book bundle. This is what we train on. The Fifth Amendment is huge. We do have a free webinar right there. You can pop on. That's the advocacy training webinar. We have all of the different things that you need to proactively start fighting back. And we also now have a Fight Your Case companion journal. And you all will be able to get it for, I think it's really cheap. It's under $20, but it's a whole 80-page journal to help you start fighting cases and strategizing, right? So that way you're leveling the playing field. So check us out. Follow us, and we'd love to have
you. Girl, not a journal to help you fight your case.
Absolutely.
And I was, this is what I've learned. Hindsight with that journal is to have a separate, like a feelings kind of journal and a document kind of journal.
And we got the feelings portion in there. So we have a little feelings portion for you to write out how you feel. We got a portion in there to write out like all the evidence that you got in, how you feeling about your lawyer, questions you have for your lawyer, things you want your lawyer to do, what you learned. I mean, this is because of I've fought cases for over 13 years. I've fought, I'm not going to just fight because I'm a legal disruptor. I fought hard.
I fought.
Right. I'm talking about that. So that means when I come out, I don't have a lot of friends. Right? I don't have a lot of friends on the outside because from the inside, the DAs were not my friends. So you don't want to be my friends now because I fought you and I actually did it so that way we could level the playing field. So this is all that this is about. And we make our stuff really affordable. Everything we do is very affordable. Everything we do is actually licensed. We don't play games. So if you're ever spending with us, just know that our money goes back into actually training other organizations that do this type of work that's proactive.
And then I need you to come back because this is another thing that keeps us buying is grants and all this other stuff that, churches and organizations taking money from MDOC and all that other kind of stuff. And so you can't say and do certain things. We need to have a real discussion about how we fund our own movements.
There you go.
And once we start funding our movements, I saw Mr. Clay's, Dr. Clay says all about the money, but really it is because we need to have a real conversation about funding our own movements. So we won't be tied to the grant, and we can't say nothing. Or this and we can't move nothing.
It's a nonprofit. Then again, then we got to get into the nonprofit industrial complex. Then we got to start talking about that. Then we got to look at, why, and that was a big thing for me. Like I created MFN, and I made sure I created a for-profit first, because all of this intellectual property that comes from my brain that I create, the state is not about to be able to lay claim on my intellectual property. That is another way of keeping us bound. Right. Like, and so we have to know how to make sure that we are creating with our specialized knowledge that we have went and got. Right. And that it makes sense that it's for profit. We're able to utilize that. And then when it makes sense, we have a nonprofit so we can spread it to more people. But starting when we sometimes, and that's something we just don't know. We think we want to help our community. We're going to have a nonprofit. No, that means the state has claim on this business. Right. And then it gets created up under this business, the state lays claim to. And that's something we need to be aware of.
Yes, because I'm glad you brought that up, because we had a guest on here probably a couple of years ago, and he came up with an awesome program and he did it out of MDOC, right? And he, same thing, he turned it into a nonprofit, right? And they saw the program was working. It was so good that they kicked him out of his own program, took his program under their own thing. He now on the outside looking in on his own program being ran without him. The program, it was so good that he was going from state to state to state implementing it. But once it got so big, they kicked him out and took it over.
And that happened to somebody I know too. That's crazy.
Does this sound like, so do we think that is she's on like a telephone? Dr. Clay's hilarious. But y'all, this is not, but those are not like little one-offs, right? Those are not one-off scenarios. What has happened since the beginning of time when Black people create things, right? Hello. And so like we have to be smarter about it and recognize like what makes sense for us. Right. What makes sense for me? Like, what am I trying to be? I'm trying to build a legacy, right? And I'm trying to build, I'm trying to create, and I'm trying to help a lot of people, but I can't help the more people. If I'm choking, if I'm struggling, I can't help as many people. But if I can pull myself out, right? And I'm not, this is the lawyer coach. I coach lawyers on how to open their own law practice, right? And come out and disrupt. So it's like, if I'm teaching you, I gotta free you. You working in the state, you coming out making what, $5,000-$6,000 a month or something, not even a whole lot of money for a lawyer. You went to school all the time, you're not getting paid like your counterparts. I'm just being honest. And so now you don't really have any time to fight. You ain't got no time to help anybody. You're struggling. And you a lawyer.
And you have to, here you have, I don't know if they have it down there, but here lawyers have to pay legal insurance every month. They have to like be in organizations you got a lot of different stuff to be a lawyer.
It is. And so it's like, the thing is, I can teach you. That's what I learned. Like, if I'm coming out here teaching all these advocates, if I can free these lawyers and help y'all make more money, right? The first year you come out and your law practice 6 figures your first year, and it's easy for Black lawyers to do because it's only 5% of us. But it's like, if I can show you how to make that money immediately, then that frees you. And so now you're free to go and help others. So you're making income and you can go have a lot more impact. And that's the same thing with the organizations, the advocacy organizations. Anybody who's fighting, you have to free you first, and then you are able to help way more people.
I needed to hear this today.
Girl, listen, you'll die out, the movements will die out.
I feel like I'm halfway.
But that's if you think about it, that's what Harriet did. She freed herself first.
Yeah. Hello? How can I come save you if I don't know how to be free first?
Right.
Let me get up and start
shouting herself first. She went through the whole thing. Then she went back and freed others. She didn't free others that didn't know where to go.
Come on, Madam C.J. Walker.
Yes. Yes.
I had to create her own, and then was able to put on a whole lot of other women how to make money and free themselves, fund initiatives for the NAACP in the beginning. I mean, this is what we are supposed to be doing. Legal literacy, civics, and financial literacy, baby, they all go together for us to disrupt harmful systems.
Girl, you got to come back, and it can be
whatever. You got my
you back soon because we got to. This is a very impactful conversation with everything that's going on. we got to understand that we can free ourselves. We don't have to be looking from the outside looking in. We could be inside looking out. We can have control. So
come on now. You got this, sister.
They took my curriculum and are teaching it in some of.
And that's your intellectual property, and that is crazy, you know, and that happens to us all too much. And so I'm a certified business coach too. So it's like this easily, naturally goes together. So if y'all ever want to talk about things of that nature, maybe we have another convo on that, what that looks like for us to start creating our intellectual property. If you know, to actually make sure that we're protecting it. Right. So we have to really, really be thinking about those things if we want our impact to last and not die out.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So I gotta give you some applause.
Let
me find some applause up in here.
This has been the best. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you so much. I am looking forward. I'm going to send you an email. But yeah, AI is still in our info as well. That's
Dr. Clay, we got to talk
very
about that.
Much. Yeah,
you got to make sure you go on and put some. You can turn off certain things on there if you're using AI. It's ways to use AI very smart, right? Make it work for you and not the other way around. So we can talk about that too.
Yes. So thank you for joining us today. I'm glad that we were able to connect, and I look forward to more conversations with you. This is amazing. The info. I feel like somebody put a battery in my back. Now I'm rejuvenated. Yes. Did you have anything else to ask, Leslie, before?
I don't have anything to ask. I did have something to add or to just mention. Happening in Michigan, we got 2 House bills, 5-1.
Oh, okay. We'll
get to that later. Okay, cool.
So thank you, Attorney Teasley. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank y'all so much for having
me. Thank you so much. This was such a blessed conversation.
Thank you. This was so good. I enjoyed myself. I'm glad I stayed on. And so I'll be looking to hear from y'all soon. And I'll be reaching out to y'all when I'm coming down that way.
And then Dr. Clay said he needs to get you on his truth session.
Hit me up, Dr. Clay. Hit me up. Let's don't play with me. Hit me up. Okay. All right, and make sure y'all come on over on Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Central Time to TikTok at MFNEMEFFEN. I'll be teaching Sunday School Rights live over on TikTok this Sunday, 9:30 a.m.
So that's perfect because it's 10:30 our time, but it's daylight savings time.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
We lose an hour tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I hate that. Okay, that's fine. I'll still be there. But y'all be good. I'm gonna get out of here. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right, bye-bye. Wow. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I got notes all over. I'm gonna have to retype my notes. I was writing too fast.
So you were talking about the House bills. So, and I got some things too to add on here. So go ahead, Leslie. I'll let you talk about that, and then we'll talk about some stuff that's coming up.
Well, speaking of proactive instead of reactive, right now we have a lot going on in Michigan, in Lansing. It's overshadowed by all the shenanigans happening at the federal level. Yes. So right now, 2 bills were voted on, or the first round of votes in the House, the Michigan House, 5157 and 5158. And what these would do would be stiffer, more crystallized and longer penalties for people that are considered moving illegal substances. And particularly, it's the Schedule 1 and 2. So I think there's been a push for people to get some sort of, to stop the fentanyl deaths. The fentanyl is a big thing. This is how they trick us, right? So I think a lot of people are on board, like, yeah, we need to stop getting those quote unquote bad bumps, and people are dying from those. But they snuck in some other drugs on there. Now it includes codeine, morphine, methadone, oxycodone, synthetic cannabinoids, mushroom, ecstasy, LSD, and heroin.
Wait a
All of
minute.
those Schedule 1 and 2 drugs. So it's not. It was. I think that started talking about the conversation started to have stiffer penalties for fentanyl, and not even snuck in another 8 drugs on us. So and the it's doesn't you don't need to have a lot of it for you to be considered a dealer. So how Attorney Teasley was talking about her mama was a user but got treated as a dealer. That's what we're up against. And it's not even being talked about, it doesn't feel like. Um so talk to your representative, whatever. We need to be writing letters about that too. We need to be in their face and being a part of this conversation, because in a minute that'll be a new thing where we see wrongful convictions, unfair. We already policed and
Because is it? Yeah. Isn't mushrooms legal here?
sort of,
Don't
sort of.
they use methadone to treat people that's on certain drugs?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
It's
saying. I'm
blurry,
going through
yeah.
the list that you put out. I was like, wait a minute. So don't people use like some of these for
This is black drugs, codeine. Who don't all the young folks, they do lean. If you don't know
right?
lean, that's like codeine with a little cough. You have a little cough syrup with codeine, and I don't know if they dip their little. I'm not a drug person, but I kind of know. You have to know something when you have kids and step kids or whatever. I think they dip their little swisher, is that they still call it swishers? They put it in there, and it's just like cough syrup and maybe Hennessy or something like that. And it, because of those mixing together, it's the combination gives you a high.
Oh wow,
Somebody doing that does not need to do hard time in prison.
right. So yeah, this is the back to the conversation, and we had to be more proactive and start paying attention when they tell you one thing. You got to read the fine print. You can't just then when all these convictions start happening, then we like wonder what how this happened. It's
Yeah.
because it got sneaked under the rug with something else, and now look at what's
Let me
going
tell you
on.
how sneaky it was. What was everybody doing at Halloween, around Halloween time? Thinking about the election, right?
Right,
They snuck these bills in on, I think it was October 27th. Nobody's paying attention.
right. Mm-hmm. Ooh wee.
Anyway.
So I have two things I want to put on there, and then I got a question for you, Leslie, when I finish that. But one thing is on again, I spoke on this a little bit earlier. On Monday, March the 23rd, from 7 to 9 p.m., we're going to have another day, National Day of Prayer for Women here on Valley. And we're going to have it from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can watch it here on this platform. And if you are a minister or a faith leader or a prayer leader, and you would like to join us for prayer, 5 minutes, 5 minute prayer, there's a link for you to sign up. It's WHV prayer sign up form. You can go and sign up for the prayer. It's going to be on our platform, the link. Also on Justice for Gerard Movement links platforms. You could go there, or mine's, or Leslie's after today. And you could go there and sign up to be a prayer leader for the event. Also, this week, I think it's Tuesday, March the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of wrongful convictions, Durrell, Mr. Beat the Odds, Durrell, he's going back to court to fight his wrongful conviction on March the 10th. But afterwards, that session, he's rented space over at the St. Regis Hotel in Detroit on West Grand Boulevard, 3071 West Grand Boulevard in Detroit. And there's going to be a big session going on with different organizations. There's going to be connections. MSU, Michigan State University Innocent Clinic is going to be there having an informational session. Think Tank, Think Tank, a Q&A panel. There's going to be attorneys there and injustice impacted individuals and exonerees. Expungement information is going to be going on, food and drinks. So join us there. We're going to be there as well. Survivor Speaks, Silent Cries, Just Us, Black Voter Matters, and a whole lot of other organizations of exonerees. So join us there on Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And also, okay, that's it on that part. And so now I'll just have a question for you, Leslie, and for those who are listening. My question is, what systems should we hold accountable this week? Hold on, let me get that off. So, Leslie, who should we hold accountable this week?
Okay.
Yeah.
What systems? I would say that all of them. That's a quick thing. But the voting, I know, right? Starting with the systems, and I'll be talking about this on further on March 20th. I have Alex Thomas on my show. Knowing what's going on right now, everybody's up for election. A lot of city councils, township councils, AG, all of that. Anything that doesn't make sense, we need to be holding accountable, as in, okay, what does this mean? I just saw a representative's address. She didn't do a town hall. She did a virtual, like a video she posted. And it said, I'm looking at this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. Cool. What exactly are you doing with the water? What exactly are you doing with the women's prison? What exactly, like, we need to be pushing our representative to not just say, it's not okay to just say, I'm working on the prison. I know it. I hear you. I see you. I'm working on it. We're past that point. We need to know exactly what they plan to do.
Yes. So, yeah, because accountability matters. And that's what we're talking about this whole season. And these people work for you. You elected them. So they work for you. And it is okay to challenge them, call them, write a letter, send an email. It is okay. That's what they're there to do. And if we don't do that, then they're just sitting back doing nothing. If you're not challenging them, it's nobody. I haven't in my whole entire life talked to elected officials as much as I have within the last few years. And so after you start doing it, it's like calling anybody else, customer service,
Let me speak to the manager.
Exactly. Show up at their community meetings.
Yes.
They have them. They have community sessions. Find out where your elected official is and show up. Stuff is going on in your community that you don't understand or you want to give a voice. Just don't sit on the telephone and complain or making posts on social media. Yeah, you can make a post, but you also need to show up. Your voice does matter. Your questions matter. How you feel matters. Yeah. And so we have to train ourselves to get out of that, like, well, they could do that. Well, they said that
it's the they. I'm not see they, I'm gonna punch them in the face because everybody talks about they. It's like, no, we're part of it. If the system fails, we part of the they. When they have these, like I was saying, they were voting. When they have those votes, that doesn't mean, like, for me, Lansing is an hour and 15 minutes away or something like that. I'm not gonna be hopping there. I do go sometimes, but it means that I have to find somewhere for my daughter to get, so she can get to the bus stop, to get to, it's a big to do. But what I can do, I can write a letter. I can, every time you write a letter for a hearing, they have to post it on the website so everybody can see it. It's a documented recorded event. You can send in comments. Most of the meetings now, you can go online and see those. So more and more are starting to have live interactive where you can call in and make a comment at your like board of commissioners meeting. You can watch it from home, and they have a special link, and you can, they'll say, okay, public comment, and you can say your public comment from home.
Yes.
You can have your bowl of Cheerios right to the side. After you finish comment, go ahead and eat your cereal, whatever. Like, it's more and more, I would say, accessible to be in the conversation. And we just have to take the opportunity, or take those opportunities.
Right. It's not only just us, me and you being disruptors. We all have to, we all can be disruptors. Yeah. And in our own little way. You know, and what goes on in your community and in your area, in your town, in your city, is important enough for you to express an opinion. Is also important, as equally important for you to contact your elected official. And sometimes you might have to contact those that are not your elected officials.
Oh, yeah.
So know that that's what you can. And that is what we should be doing. So I think also when we're talking about what systems, we got to also hold ourselves accountable too this week. Where you see injustice, say something, do something, take action. It's all of our, it goes, what's happening to you is happening to me. And so, or eventually will happen to me. So we need to also, speak up, speak out. It's okay. Nobody's going to get you. So, yes. So is there anything else that
I encourage us to, folks to come out for all the sessions for turning the moment into a movement. I'm excited about the one on April 4th. We're going to talk, I'm excited about all of them, but April 4th, we're going to talk about the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
Because we need to understand he was all about abolition too. Yes. He was all about abolition. He went to jail. He grew up hard, and he helped free prisoners of war when nobody else could. Before he ran. And he enfranchised people. He enfranchised in 84. He got 1 million voters that had never voted before to vote for his presidential campaign. In 88, he got 2 million. So Jesse Jackson was not unlike MLK. MLK was born, a lineage of pastors and all that. That was not Jesse Jackson's origin story. He was poor and what he would say a quote unquote outside kid. You know what that means if you have family from the South, you know what that means. But he figured it out. And he just found his assignment. And that's something I struggle with. Sometimes it feels like I'm not doing enough or whatever. I have a lot on my plate. But just thinking about what your assignment is, that's part of the accountability. Like, what is my assignment? I'm doing a lot of stuff, but am I on my assignment? Am I doing what is placed on my heart, what I need to be doing in this moment? And more of us need to be thinking that.
And turn those moments into movements. Yes. So, I just lost my job, but I'm so glad. Yes. Subscribe. Subscribe so when stuff comes up and you might not have seen a post or whatever, you'll get notified. Hey, we'll be on at 5. So subscribe, share, and we'll see you back next Saturday on Turning a Moment into a Movement. And have a good evening, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit. All I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. You know what that feel like? Do you know what it is? And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine, a little light of mine. Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV. Ooh-wee. Cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the miss and then you see me fresh. Salute.